Makeup artist in training, welcome back. We're going to be tackling understanding skin issues, so stay tuned for that coming up. It's going to be as in-depth as I can get in our short little amount of time that we have here, and stay tuned for the assignment. I can't wait to dive in. Let's go for it. So this is your next video. We are on the last video on skincare for the week, so it's going to be a little bit in depth. Get ready. So first of all, common sense comes into play again when determining problems, blemishes. Although what I'm going to tell you is not 100% accurate, I find that you're going to get, some pretty solid accuracy with all of this. So I find most times it's true. Okay, so here's where we're going to start. We're going to start with blemishes. Let's go. If the person has pimples on the forehead, if you have pimples on your forehead, it is often from a hair care product they're using, or they also could be experiencing a hormone imbalance, possibly also due to their age category. It's often found in teens. You get a lot of the forehead blemish thing. So if you're getting a lot of blemishes on your forehead, or you're seeing the blemishes on the forehead, it could be from hormonies, the products that they're using, hair products especially. Hair products are a real bad culprit for, and bangs, just anything touching the forehead that your forehead's not liking very much. So just keep that in mind when you're seeing something on the forehead. From my experience, pimples on the nose can often come from improper cleaning. It can also be from diet issues or a product that is maybe too much for them. So pimples on the nose, I first go to cleaning. I check out their cleaning. I'm often right on it being a cleaning issue, but not always. It could just be also an area like if you've got glasses always touching that area or anything touching here often, it can get irritated and create like little blemishes and things like that. So that's also a possibility. Let's go to the next area of the face. If there are pimples on the chin, it could mean that there's leaning on the hand at school, at work, just hanging out, being cute. Also, remember how much dirt and bacteria resides in the hands and in our phones, okay? So you want to clean with alcohol, or clean your phone, or clean your hands with, we all have hand sanitizer, we know that. So just keep that in mind, that this little chin, jaw area can be from that. Also, it can show up due to stress, and this is also hormonal area. So students at exam time, you might have a double whammy, hormones and high stress. So menstrual cycle, anything like that, those are all culprits for pimples across the chin and jaw area, I have found in my experience. So that could be what the issue is. Take a look at what's happening and see if that can be fixed. Okay, if it's like a full-out acne issue, that's a good idea to get looked at by a dermatologist. I mean, I really believe in trying to heal from the inside out, that diet and all of that kind of thing. As we talked about before, it can be something they're eating or something you're eating. Other times, I've seen dermatologists do miracles on the skin. So if it's an acne problem, you're going to need to get a close look at what that could possibly be. Acne meaning repeated heavy duty blemishes across the face. So keep that in mind as we're looking at these different blemishes and skin pimple issues. In my experiences, blemishes on the cheeks are often due to maybe an improper diet. Something is irritating their system and it's reflecting in the skin. We talked about dairy products. We talked about greasy foods. Those seem to have the most dramatic effect on the skin. Hormones and dairy products or other foods can also irritate the stomach and act out in the skin. So if there's blemishes on the cheek area, there's that. Can be the cleaning thing, but I often find it's diet. Cheeks are a really big clue for me, but you'll have to check into it a little deeper and see if that is the problem. If there's flakiness, like surface flakiness all over the skin, I can't speak enough about dehydration. Whether it's because you're, like I said, your diet, water intake, illness, medication, lack of sleep, smoking, overexposure to sun, alcohol, products, they're all stripping moisture from the skin. Sleep. Most of us have or are dehydrated in our skin at varying degrees. You may see flakiness, even dry patches on parts of your skin. So common side effect is that if your skin burns, also sunburns, can really flake out the skin, of course. And when makeup is applied, it usually looks blotchier, and it can create fine lines around the eyes, around the mouth. Makeup also appears cakier normally, and even with a light application, especially under the eye. A good way to test is what? The dehydration test that I gave you guys. That's lifting of the skin. Go back in the videos, I show you a detailed dehydration test. If it crinkles up like a newspaper, dehydrated. So we're gonna need to work on that with all of the varying ways that we've been talking about, okay? So if you see those little crisscross lines, yeah, you're dehydrated, okay? And check here too, and here too, okay. Okay, the word hypoallergenic, let's play with that, or clean, or buzzwords. They don't have any technical meaning. Hypoallergenic simply means that the agencies in charge of whatever around the world deemed that most people don't react to the product. This means that if most people, basically every product you see on the shelves has to be hypoallergenic, because most people can't react to it, or they won't be able to sell it, usually in most countries, not all, but I'm in Canada, US. If it's on the shelves, they've done testing and most people aren't reacting to it, it can be called hypoallergenic. So just watch that word. I don't like it. I just think it's a buzzword. And so is clean, what does that mean? So the terms that you will hear are not something that will guarantee that you will not react. You probably won't, but you can. We are in a new world. There's all kinds of new buzzwords coming up by the minute. So just keep in mind when you hear any word that doesn't mean anything legal or any protection per se. I just don't want you guys to get duped by a buzzword, okay? So just keep those two in mind. The clean thing, what does that mean exactly? Go into it if you're interested. And yeah, let's continue on. All right, I find smell one of the most powerful deterrents to whether I buy a product or not. I've had unfortunate experience reacting a million times to products. If it's not overly perfumed and has some simple basic ingredients and has a good texture, I find the reaction rates dramatically lower. So keep that in mind. This means that more expensive products does not always mean better. So keep in mind to try to get samples first to see how it smells, how it feels, all of that. And a lot of the good places can get you some samples to try, and sometimes they can just scoop out a little bit to try, so it's a good idea to do. So again, educate yourself, common ingredients to see, and keep in mind that perfume thing and the texture and all of it is important. So samples. I just can't stand when customers or potential customers get humiliated into purchases, like by saying, oh, you really need a wrinkle cream or something like that. It's just so humiliating. Don't ever, allow a flaw, perceived flaw anyway, to, be a motivating factor to you for anyone to purchase anything. And if any kind of salesperson is using something that you're self-conscious about, I just hate that tactic. So avoid that at all costs. And when researching or purchasing, you want to be careful if you're feeling like a sale is just trying to be secured, or if it's not being handled correctly as far as like your personal preferences and not being heard, or what your needs are not being heard. Watch for that, because sometimes quotas are out there and they're pushing products on you that maybe are not the best. So watch and try to find people that you trust in order to purchase these things from. And if you do find somebody, great, hang on to them because they are valuable, and you'll always want to go back to a good person, just like hairstyling. Don't forget to remember what you are trying to change about the skin, because that will clue you in on what you need to hone in on. So concentrate in on what the changes are you're trying to make. And that is where your purchase is going to be focused on, especially when you're adding a product or two. You want to see if that change is actually happening and it's not just, you're not getting sold a bill of goods. So keep an open mind as far as like what you'd like to change about your skin. Write it down and then see if there's anything that legitimately can handle dealing with those changes, and it might not. You might have to go into more of a surgery kind of situation, or an upper end treatment, maybe laser or whatever. But yeah, so if it's a product for, we'll just say for an example, you want to change age spots that are popping up on the face. I mean, be mindful that promises can be made in a product and not deliver. So do your research on everything that you're doing and don't get sold a bill of goods. Make sure you get lots of reviews and feel good about what you're buying. And hopefully they have a return policy if you don't like it. Welcome back. I am going to be going through the different skin types and skin issues. These are general, okay? There's a lot of blurred lines in between. And so keep that in mind. We're going to run through them all. Keep watching. All right, let's start with dry skin. That's me. Dry skin is a result of a lack of oil. Skin normally appears dull and there's no visible signs of excess oil on the face. You feel extreme tightness often, and you're always thirsty for more moisturizer, especially after you wash. So it has a dull appearance. Sometimes there's a lot of dead skin on the surface, but that is dry skin, lack of oil, different than dehydrated skin, lack of oil, dry skin. Oily skin is a result of overactive production of oil on the face. Shine, shiny, shine, shine in parts. Might be blemishes may appear. Redness can also occur. Often makeup moves and it can even turn colors like orangier or weird tones. So keep that in mind. Somebody with oily skin has very specific preferences, so keep that in mind as well. And remember what I told you about oily skin and overly stripping it, because your body will want to produce more oil to overcompensate for that. So anybody with oily skin out there, shiny T-zone area, you may be considered oily depending on, it could be combination, it could be oily, but it's really showing up here. It just depends. But likely, if you're bothered by it and you're always feeling like you got an oil slick on your face, you've got oily skin. And you know, that takes a different set of caring hands to deal with that. But be happy in some regards, because all that oil helps with the lines and wrinkles. So like, there's pluses to things, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. Normal skin. Well, normal as in normal with a balance between oil in your skin, so you don't really have any dryness, you don't really have to worry too much. You almost can like go have a shower, put a little light moisturizer and just walk out the door. You don't have a lot to deal with in terms of oil, and you don't have to add a lot in terms of oil, but you can be normal and dehydrated. Just letting you know, you could be dehydrated in any other skin type. Go back in the videos, and if you haven't done a dehydration test, it'll tell you how to do that. You have to go through these in sequence, you guys. If you don't, you're going to be really lost. So make sure you're going through them in sequence. So normal skin is a result of balanced oil production. You might have the odd blemish, that's fine. Skin might have like visible blemishes all over the face, and you can still have normal oil. You could be having an allergic reaction, you could be having all kinds of things. So normal means normal as in your oil is normal, okay? You can be a lot of things in terms of like dehydrated and normal, so it can feel dry, but you're not. You're lacking water, not oil. We got to straighten those two confusions out. Now we're going into dehydrated skin, and as I said, it's a lack of water in the skin, and you could strip your skin and be highly oily and be severely dehydrated at the same time, so it gets really confusing, and that's why the dehydration test is so super important to do once in a while, even to see what's happening. And sometimes you could take a medication and it can dehydrate your skin, all kinds of travel, anything, changes in temperature, all kinds of reasons why your skin can change. So whether you're any of these skin types and whether it can change throughout the year, that can happen as well, winter to summer, stuff like that. Environmental changes, hormonal changes can change the amount of oil that we're producing. But remember, dehydrated is lacking water. And to get the water back, obviously we have to get the dead skin off, and then we have to put hydrating products back, including moisturizers, including the way that we wash our skin, including masks, including any kind of treatments. Those are all possible arenas where you can add water to your skin. And then also careful diet, not drinking too much alcohol. Smoking is a massive dehydrator. There's a lot of things can dehydrate the skin. Lacking sleep. So you'll have to monitor that, but we all can be any skin type and be dehydrated at the same time. If you can get those two things straight, you're going to straighten out your skincare a lot. So those are the two things to keep in mind. Put a star and asterisk beside that phrase. Dry does not mean dehydrated, okay? So difference between the two, and once we have that straight, we can move on and fix things. A couple other points I want to give you guys is remember that we're not skin specialists for the most part, unless you are, or dermatologists, unless you happen to be. You're basically, if you're seeing a dermatologist, or if you know of somebody that you're speaking to is seeing a dermatologist, you really can't counteract what they are saying, even though they might be doing something that you know for a fact is messing them up. Because, I mean, doctors kind of like have the final say, so you don't want to like interfere with that very much. Gently, you might want to say, I think it's messing you up, but be careful, because, yeah, I mean, you don't want to like jump into the relationship between a doctor and their patient. So keep in mind that dermatologists are doctors, so you just want to be mindful of that as you're going through this whole journey of skincare. Right, assignment time, guys. So you need to decide what kind of skin type that you have for yourself and explain on paper your skin type. And I want you guys to go and do 2 other people and check out their skin and decide what kind of skin type they have for practice, and come back and write it all down and see what you've picked up on with this whole, you know, up to now skincare journey that we've been on. And we have, all right, so you want to do that dehydration test. That's part of your assignment. If you can, do it on yourself and a couple other people. Write up a recommended product list for yourself, and you can even write it for the 2 people that you're dealing with as well, and submit the products, brand recommendations, and all of that into your page, and put it down, and then you'll have it written down in black and white, and you'll know a little bit more about yourself or about the people that are around you, and help them, because you know you're in a course now, so you want to make sure you're helping those around you as best you can. And you're going to do that by tackling these assignments. And we're going to get into makeup, but we can't get into makeup without tackling skin. I hope you guys have picked up at least a few things this week and learned a few things. And thank you so much for being with me. Join me next week and you'll see me looking different. I'll have a different outfit on so you don't get too bored with the same look all the time. But yeah, I have to roll through these because there's just so much information to give you guys, and let's keep going. See you guys next week in the next vids. Let's roll on. Bye for now.